Welcome back to the Vortex. Bruce Leeds speaking. So, I'm gonna shed some light to Trevor Jackson, who is a hip hop scholar, and he was responding to RZA's fantastic interview on Junk Champs. And they were discussing, you know, how they do the quick time with slime, which was very slow this time. You know what I mean? They took ages going through it. And he'll always say this or that, tit or tat for a couple of like hip hop related questions, and you know, pick and choose out whatever, right? So RZA asked Jizza or Nas, and RZA's answer was Jizza. Now, Trevor Jackson seemed to be under the impression that you know, there might have been some kind of like nefarious intent to RZA's answer. To him saying that Jizza, he feels that Jizza was the best and is the best MC ever. Um, Trevor Jackson disagrees, and you know, I disagree. I don't think that Jizza is the greatest MC hands down all time. Let me turn off this fan because I don't know if that's making it unclear for you to hear me. But there is no nefarious or malicious intent behind RZA's answer, and I'm just going to prove that to Trevor right now. So, I can't actually find my copy, but I have a book called the Wu-Tang Manual. Right, it is one of the greatest books that any Wu-Tang fan could ever purchase. If this book is still available in some capacity, find yourself a copy, own it, especially as a Wu-Tang fan. It will give you so many answers to anything Wu-Tang you could possibly want to know. Do you know what I mean? Like, there are so many different chapters going from how gangsters and organized crime influenced the Wu-Tang, how kung fu movies influenced the Wu-Tang. My favorite chapters are where they break down the 5% Nation and the Supreme Alphabet and Supreme Mathematics, and also the Wu-Tang Slang Lexicon, which is an A to Z of all Wu-Tang slang on what certain words mean, what certain things mean, what certain numbers mean, the way they use slang and from anywhere that they possibly can get it. That chapter opened my eyes to so many different rhymes that Wu-Tang was saying that I had no idea what they were talking about. Up until that point, I had no idea what they were talking about. I just listened to Wu-Tang for the beats, except for Meth. Of course, Meth was clear, and also Jizza. You see, Jizza was a very like clear MC, but most of the Wu-Tang used a lot of slang that I was not up on until I got this book. Now, the book starts off with him breaking down every single member of the Wu-Tang. When it comes to the Jizza, I'm going to read a segment, page 8 to 9 of this book. Just the end of page 8, beginning of page 9. I'm just going to read what he says about Jizza here. Right. He says, Rakim, Cool G Rap, Big Daddy Kane. I've listened to them since day one. I've met them. And they are exceptional MCs. I mean, exceptional MCs. But to my personal taste, none of them could touch the Jizza. I knew it in my heart way back before the Wu-Tang. And I strived to be like him, not like them. Jizza is the only one with a style that actually instilled fear in me. I'll keep going anyway. On his first album, there's this one rhyme. I met a young brother. How young? About 8. Smooth, intelligent, and rather quite straight. So I greeted him and struck a conversation to see if this youngster had some self-motivation. It's simple, but it's intentionally simple. It's slow, it's deliberate and fierce. That was back when Man was using all kind of big words and trying to rap fast and fill this space up with syllables, but RZA was taking it down to something else. You caught real drama off his rhymes and his style. He could make cat and rat sound threatening. So, this book came out in 2004. And RZA was saying that about RZA back then. The RZA is the one that taught RZA how to rap. The RZA is the one who taught RZA how to make beats. The RZA is the one who taught RZA how to play chess. And the RZA is also the one that opened RZA's eyes to the 5% Nation teachings and gave him knowledge of self. And he did that for a lot of the Wu-Tang. And this is why a lot of them call RZA like the best. The RZA was the first person to get signed that they knew. The RZA was that they knew, like in their circle. The RZA was the first person to put out an album. The RZA was the first one to work with an accomplished producer on that album, Easy Mo B. The RZA was the first one to give RZA his first placement on beats with the Pastor Bone song that was on the Words from the Genius album, or at least the re-release. I can't remember if it was on the original release, but it was definitely on the re-release. But that song was from back then. That song was from 1991, I believe. That Words from the Genius came out. So the Genius was like a first hero to the Wu-Tang. He was like the first one in their circle that was like, I'm a professional MC. I'm getting money. I got a deal. I got signed. I'm doing a video. I'm doing all that. He was the first one. You know what I mean? Capadonna was the one that, like, Capadonna and RZA. Capadonna and RZA are like the architects of the Wu-Tang sound. Capadonna was like one of the best MCs in the hood and one that they really look up to as far as style. But then Capadonna got locked up. RZA was around at that time, and like I said, when they was all trying to change their lives to some degree, all of them were getting tired of basically the street life. All of them were getting tired. So RZA was that first one that was really like, okay, like this is the way I'm walking now. So I'm done with the thing. I'm moving this way, and even with the rhyming, he was kind of retired. Basically, he was semi-retired from rhyming. You know what I mean? He used to rhyme with his family and his cousins. Do you know what I mean? But but the deal soured him, so he wasn't really rhyming like that. But he was being a mentor to them. That's why he didn't sign. RZA didn't sign the contract for Wu-Tang 36 Chambers. He never signed. But he was like, I don't need to sign, because he was more being a father, a figure, like an elder statesman, father figure, not really, brother, older brother to them, big brother, mentor, setting the standard in terms of a professional outlook, and and just being that support of, yeah, look, I'm here to, add some validity. Do you know what I mean? And be like, well, when RZA was trying to get 9 people signed, he's like, well, one of them is RZA from Cold Chillin'. Do you know, Tom, was it Cold Chillin'? I think it was Cold Chillin'. But, he was someone that had some experience, you know what I mean? So that's why RZA was around. RZA is a hero to them. RZA is the one that really, like, abomatomically, like, Inspector Deck's verse wouldn't exist if it wasn't for RZA. It's like that kind of way of approaching rap. All them guys, when they try to say something smart, try to say something really clever, that's like, ooh, yo, that's all like RZA, like them trying to be cerebral with their rhymes, comes from RZA. The style of it more comes from Capadonna. That's why when Capadonna came back, he was straight on people's albums, because he was another hero to them. So as soon as he came out, they was like, yo, jump on Cuban Link's album, like, because he was like, jump on there, because he's like Ray and Ghost's favorite rapper. Divine signed Capadonna to RZA Shot Records almost straight away, because he's Divine's favorite rapper. But RZA signed up the RZA to Wu-Tang because RZA is his favorite rapper. And he was like, yo, we're dictating how our music's gonna go. You had the deal, they told you what to do. I had the deal, they told me what to do. And then when their plans didn't work, they said it was they said it was RZA and GZA's fault that the plans that they were given to them didn't work, and then dropped them. So it was that's why they came in the game with Wu-Tang. We're doing whatever we want to do. You know? I go into all that to say this, like, it wasn't malicious. It wasn't a shot against Nas for RZA saying GZA, he thinks GZA is the best. He's always thought that GZA is the best. You know what I mean? And for me, I don't think that, like, people who say that GZA is their favorite MC of all time, if there's people out there that I can imagine that there's people out there that say that the GZA is their favorite rapper of all time. GZA has got fantastic rhymes. Do you know what I mean? And a solid body of work. Even Beneath the Surface is a good album. Legend of the Liquid Sword is a good album. They don't have that single. They don't have that legendary, like, backing and push to it. Or certainly don't have the attention that Liquid Sword's got. But they're solid albums. But an album that he does have that is fantastic that no one talks about is his collaboration album with Muggs. The Grandmaster's album is one of the greatest albums ever made. I would argue it's better than Liquid Sword. What Liquid Sword has that Grandmasters doesn't have is features. Like Liquid Sword has shadow boxing on it. Liquid Sword has fourth chamber on it. And these are legendary classic features like Wu-Tang songs, you know, GZA and Meth like destroying shit. Well, Meth destroying shit. GZA doing his thing. But that's a Meth song. Like, Meth gets 2 verses on GZA's album. You know what I mean? Like, it's a Meth song on GZA's album. You know? Like, Basic Instructions Before Leaving Earth is a Killer Priest song on GZA's album. You know what I mean? So, that had the edge of it had those legendary features. But then GZA can hold his own. But Grandmasters, it has a few little features. But that's GZA at his absolute finest. Absolute finest. And Muggs pretty much at his absolute finest. That Grandmaster's album, a lot of people talk about well, no, because that was the first album that sparked off everybody wanting to do the Muggs albums. Like, because you had GZA, Grandmasters, then you had Planet Asia with Pain Language, and you had Sick Jackin with The Mask and the Assassin, and then it went from there to Dump God's got one, Fahim, Dump God Fahim, he's got one, Mark Homie's got one, Flea Lord's got one. Like, everyone's like, yo, I want a Muggs album. But they all want Grandmasters. They saw Grandmasters and was like, I want one. I want a Muggs album because I saw GZA do it. And then I saw Planet Asia do it. And then I saw Sick Jackin. Those 3 albums, like, that was what, when people started being like, I want a Muggs project. Do you know what I'm saying? But GZA sparked that. And that, I think, me personally, I think that Grandmasters is his finest work. And I would put that work up against any legendary album that you can name. Yeah. You can talk numbers all you want. You can talk 10 million sales, 50 Cent. You can talk 50 million sales, Eminem, all you want. You know what I mean? But when it comes to skills, rapping, a concept album put together, start to finish, no skips, Grandmasters, mate. So I don't think it's a stretch that people think that there's people out there that might think Jesus is better than Nas, better than Ra, better than Kane, better than Biggie, better than, you know, like, there's people out there that could think that, and I wouldn't think they're absolutely crazy, you know, because you can say that, but you won't rap over Liquid Sword's The Beat. There's about 1,000 different freestyles over his beats. There's like 1,000 different freestyles over shadow boxing. There's 1,000 different freestyles over even protect your neck, and you know what I mean, and you know, whoo, that got dark. You know what I mean? That's the blackout. Anyway, I took longer than I have already, but yeah, Trevor Jackson. I'm just wanting to shed some clarity with you. You know, nah, I don't think that RZA was trying to like dub out Nas with that. I think he was being genuine. He always has thought that Jizza is his favorite MC, and so, and that's me done, man.